think it is. I think when you have three individuals who are running those types of times, and in my opinion, I think a part of the fact that they're running these times is that they change the surfaces of the track to make it easier to run faster. I think that has to do with the fact that times are quicker in the sprints overall. Otherwise, it really doesn't make that much sense to me that you have so many talented people running, you know, routinely times that, you know, people, some of the greatest in track and field, never ran even once. And so I'm sure that the track has a lot to do with it. In fact, those tracks wouldn't even be legal. When I was running, they would have been banned. We couldn't run on a track that hard. So they've changed the game a little bit to speed it up. Yeah, they've certainly changed it. It changes the basis of the sport because, you know, time is you know, the only thing that's you can measure by in track and field. When you manipulate the surfaces, you distort, you know, the times, not only today, but what times in the past, what the relevance of a 19.83 from Tommy Smith on a almost dirt track in 1968, you know, it puts that completely out of perspective. Well, he's injured. I think he's injured. I've seen him not race 2 times and then false start. I believe he's had an injury, personally. That's generally what we do if we have an injury and don't want anybody to know it. And I think the pressure on him is going to be so great. I would think that he's going to be burned out to a certain extent. I think the odds are against him this time. There's going to be too much pressure. And I think we've seen the beginnings of that this year. And the rest of the guys are going to be ready because, especially for the American hurdlers, and then there's a guy from Cuba, they're going to be ready. And they're going to all want to take him out at home. It would be a coup for a career. As much as he's been winning, to get him, to beat him in China is going to be everyone's goal. I'm sure he'll make it to the final, barring injury. Once again, you know, 3-4 years in track and field, we have a saying, you're only as good as your last race. And he's lost a couple of races this year. I think Merritt is going to be ready. He seems to be ready. And once again, pressure. You know, being the favorite going in is not really the easiest place to be psychologically for most athletes. I think it's going to be a tough year for her as well because now we've got an American girl who's jumping at her world record about 3 weeks ago and who's kind of peaked at the right and proper time. And as I said, going into an Olympic year, it doesn't really matter who you are, what your reputation is. You know, there's people out there that are in the hunt. So I believe that Yelena will have some tough competition for sure. It's definitely, yeah. She may or may not win. I just think that it's, you know, things are kind of changing. It's been very stable in track and field the last few years with Wariner on top, Yelena on top. There's been like about 4 or 5 people in the distance runners, particularly the women distance runners, has been very stable. And an Olympic year, running those heats, being in competition, you know, doesn't matter if you're in the 5 or 10,000 meters, if someone steps on your leg and trips you, it's all over. Well, it's going to be super hot, super humid. I don't know if there's going to be rain or not because it's reportedly are going to be seeding the clouds. But I don't know. I really don't think that they can get rid of the smog. I just don't think you can just stop factory production and make smog go away. So I think it's going to be hot, humid, and smoggy. Tough conditions for everyone. But then the Olympics have been held in those kind of conditions, at least the hot and the humid, maybe not so smoggy. I think it's definitely a great event. I think that that brought tremendous, unheard of amounts of money into it. I think that when I started in 1976, I think the budget for Montreal was, I don't know, I'm sure it was less than $1 billion, 500–600 million, and now it's, you know, into the billions. I was reading on the web last night where the Chinese have spent up to $40 billion total in infrastructure and stadiums and all the training people and transportation and all the things that they have to do to get ready, and that they expect that the show is going to be one of the most exotic and highly interesting ceremonies and events ever. So, you know, when you spend that kind of money, you can make almost anything happen. But at the end of the day, the competition is really, when you're there as a competitor, you don't even see all the pomp and circumstance. You don't pay attention to anything but your immediate surroundings and your event. So, as a competitor, it really doesn't make that much difference. You see the track or a football pitch or, you know, fencing setup or a wrestling ring. That's all you ever see. You don't really see the rest of it anyway.